Yes, Your Honor. I am suing my sister for $895 for a first-class ticket that I purchased for her so that I could have a liver transplant, 1/3 of her liver, which regenerates. She matched the blood type, and at the last minute, she canceled the surgery.
Well, let's go back, because I think that people often think about organ transplants as being from a person who has died to a person who needs a liver or a heart or a kidney. But what the reality is that livers actually, it's an organ that can regenerate. And so that you can actually get a portion of a live donor's liver, and it'll actually grow back. Is that right?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And I did not know that until some years ago. But you had to have someone who was a match.
Yes.
And I understand that there was a family gathering and that you all talked about this. Is that correct?
That is correct. After the pandemic, our family got together on Thanksgiving, and I was speaking to my cousin Johnny about just how bad my situation really is.
And so explain that to us. Explain to what was going on at that point that you needed to have a liver transplant. What was happening with you?
Yes, I have a liver disease. I have third stage decompensation.
And what does that mean?
That is, I'm reaching some of my final stages. I need to have a transplant quickly. I need a donor quickly. If I wait, it could worsen, and I could die.
So unlike, say, a gallbladder, or you could live with one kidney because you have two, you cannot live without a liver. I mean, is that bottom line?
Yes.
You have to have a liver that's functioning to be able to survive. And so you all are talking about this at a family gathering, and what happens?
So my cousin Johnny spoke with some of the family members, 4 of which agreed to be tested, and Angelina was there, and she insisted that she would be the donor because we already knew she was a blood type. We had the same blood type, which is important.
So before I talk to your sister, I want to know what led to your liver problems.
So to be quite frank, I had a problem with alcohol. I changed. I have gone to AA for about 2 years now, and I have turned my situation around, but it is the partying alcoholism that caused
the problems with your liver.
My liver damage.
But the good news is that you're saying, though, that you went to AA,
yes,
Alcoholics Anonymous.
I did.
And that you have turned your life around.
I have.
And that is your sworn testimony here today.
Yes, it is.
Alcoholism doesn't just affect the alcoholic. Exactly. That it has such rippling effects for all kinds of family members and people who are affected. The most glaring is this one you've just talked about, is the absence of there being a separation. Even when you're physically in proximity with a family member, if they are dealing with the issue of alcoholism, then they are really in so many ways absent. And it's very hard to connect, it's very hard to have that kind of relationship with them. And so I'm pleased to hear that he was at the family gathering. You all were together after COVID, and it sounds like that this was a very positive situation at that point. You said something very important. You said, I love my brother.
I love my brother. I love him so much, and it is so hurtful to be here today. It is so hurtful.
So at dinner, the conversation centers around his need for a liver transplant. And because you were a match, you agreed to do the liver transplant.
I did, but it felt like there was a manipulative tactic happening.
Tell me
knew-
how.
He knew that I was likely the only one there who could be a donor.
Was she the only one there who could be a donor?
No, Your Honor. My cousin Bruce, who was also a match, who eventually became my donor, was also a donor. But
So he was at the dinner.
he was there, but she insisted.
Okay, so you were not the only possibility, right?
That's correct, but it was likely that I would be because I was the only sibling who is a 100% sibling to him. Our other siblings are half siblings.
All right, so now there's dinner. Clearly he's in a better state. He is at dinner, he's fully present, he's not drunk. But I'm still trying to understand why you said that you felt that it was manipulative.
I felt like it was manipulative because, like I said, this was the first time we had seen him in a while, and he knew that the chances were that I would be the only donor, the only person who could donate. He took the time to get up and talk about the need for him to have a living liver donor. And the fact that he did this in front of all of our family, and he didn't just take me aside and talk to me about it, he made a point of talking about it in front of the entire family at dinner. So there was a huge public pressure for me to agree to do it. I felt like I would have been...
I'm sorry for breaking it, but for me, yes, I can understand how she might have felt the public pressure, but the public pressure only applies if he was addressing you in public, in front of them. If he's not addressing the family, that's when I feel like she would be pressured more. Of course, any other person there could be a match, or any other person there could be willing. But I can understand the fact that since she is his direct sibling, it's very much on her part to kind of like be pressured to help her brother because she is the 100% direct sibling to him compared to the others that are like step siblings. So I understand it, but the whole manipulation tactics might not actually have been his point, but we can't just rule the fact that this guy he actually did this to himself. We can't rule the fact that he did it to himself. He was not in the best behavior. He actually made mistakes and he formed bad habits of drugs and alcoholism, of which turned into what it turned into. So we can't blame her for the sins that her brother committed because he actually brought it to himself. But let's continue though.
Would have seen me as a jerk if I hadn't agreed there on the spot.
I'm sorry you felt that way, and I'm sorry that came across that way. But I also want you to see it from his perspective that this is the first time he's been back in the fold. He's at dinner, and he is in crisis. And perhaps he felt the need to share it with everybody.
Yeah.
Not just the people who were the potential matches, but everybody. Because I'm sensing that in that situation, he would need the support. He would need the support not only of the potential donor, but all of the family. Because it sounds like he's trying to get it back together, that he is going to AA, he's trying to change his life, and it's not just the liver transplant so much as wanting to be back in the fold.
Sure.
That's just my commentary here. So now you agree, and then what happens?
And then what happens, Your Honor, is I start to notice some, I would say, red flags in his behavior.
What kind of red flags?
He suddenly stopped talking to me, which is very similar to his behavior when he was drinking and abusing drugs. I felt like I was losing my brother all over again.
So stop right there. When you say that he stopped talking to you, and that was indicative of a pattern you'd seen before,
Yes.
Okay, Brandon, what was happening then?
I don't know, Your Honor. I felt like her husband was, who I do not like, was being very rude to me. He made a comment when I found out later, just as an example, I found out at the hospital through her husband. I called and he said that they were saving the the liver, part of the liver, for hypothetically their own daughters, which.
Wait,
so-
that doesn't make any sense to me. The
Yes.
daughters were not sick,
No, they're not.
and they weren't They were not abusing alcohol.
No, and her
And so
husband
why
is very.
would she be saving her liver for her daughters? That makes no sense to me.
Coming up,
My brother has had
This is such a delicate case, and this is one that I don't know. I don't think it's actually logical or rational to take any sides yet, because if you are in the same person's situation, you might actually do worse or make the same choices that the person did. So in this case, you could see that this guy is saying that his sister's husband, which is his brother-in-law, was rude to him, and he was making excuses why he didn't want his sister, to do the surgery. And to me, I could understand the fact that as a man, you might not want your wife to go through a life-threatening surgery, or maybe not a life-threatening surgery, but go through surgery for the sins of another man. So I don't even blame the man for actually defending his wife and saying things that he said, because to be honest, it's a very dicey situation. He doesn't want his wife to go through the knife or go through the surgery for our brother. He understands that it's our brother, but this brother, it was not like this just came out of nowhere. It was a self-inflicted disease which was caused by his wrong habits, his bad habits of drinking too much, of alcoholism. So I could understand why the husband would be that rude, and the fact that he is not even in good terms with his sister's husband already raises a red flag, and you understand why the man doesn't want his wife to go through such a life-threatening situation to help her brother who is not even in a good relationship with him. So I don't blame the husband for doing or acting the way he acted. But let's continue though.
So was there a tension between your husband
Yes.
and your brother?
Yes.
Why?
My husband and my brother do not get along, which is very clear. My husband has seen my brother's behavior ever since my husband and I met. And my brother has had these issues with drugs and alcohol the entire time he has known them. My husband has rarely seen him sober, and he has seen the impact that my brother's behavior has had on me. The morning that I was supposed to donate a portion of my liver, my husband called and told me about some social media posts he had made celebrating 420, celebrating smoking weed. He was advocating and using weed again. And for him, it's never just weed. It's weed plus everything else. He's not going to take care of his own body. I can't save him. I can't save his life for him. He's going to take care of himself first.
Talk to me. What is
Yes,
happening?
Yes. So first of all, I am not using alcohol, as I had said. My doctors, I would not even be allowed to have the surgery if I was using alcohol. My blood would be tested,
Right,
and they would not
that I do
permit.
know to be true, that you would have to go all these
Yes,
screenings,
so
and they would reject you.
And I would not put my situation worse than it already is,
Right.
or was. And I made a post supporting 420 because I take medical
Marijuana.
gummies for pain. I am in extreme pain, and it is less addictive than other medications.
And you know, why not talk to him? Why not say, look, what is this? What is this?
My husband absolutely did not want me to do it, but at the same time, I was so angry. I was scared to be going under to do this serious surgery when I did not in my heart believe that my brother was no longer abusing drugs and alcohol.
Judge Hatchett's verdict when we
Understandable from the lady's perspective. When somebody has disappointed you time and time and time again, you just at some point shut out. And for her to be already pressed and be in that pressure situation where she feels like she needs to take a very life-changing, life-altering decision, and something that will actually scar her body for the rest of her life, life for someone that has disappointed her time and time and time again. It's a very hard decision to make, to be honest. And I don't blame her for actually backing out. And the thing, I understand that she might have gone through with it if it was not the interference of her husband and her husband going against the decision entirely. But it's understandable from their path because her brother has not lived up to any good reputation whatsoever, and they had a long way to go in actually letting his family people know that he's actually in a good state of mind and he's not going back to abuse those drugs that damaged him in the first place. It was a long route, and for the fact that she doesn't trust this guy, you don't blame her for backing out. So I understand her perspective. And also the brother in question, I hope he actually understands that it was his fault and he takes some responsibility on the whole situation, because clearly he did this to himself and it was not the fault of either his sister or his brother-in-law. So in as much as he's suing them, he should have understood her perspective that she clearly had a very difficult situation to make.
I don't think he cares about the $900 so much. I bet you if he really boils down to it, you would much rather have her in your life than the $900.
Yes, Your Honor.
I want my brother back. I love you.
Come on, you gotta,
want you in
you
my life.
gotta meet her halfway here. You're not even trying.
I hope that we can learn and grow from this experience together.
Oh my God, help me. Harvey, days like this, I'm really trying. All right, we're gonna take this $900 and we're gonna split it in half. She's gonna pay you $450, but you gotta let it go, because it's really bigger than the money. You hear me?
It is.
So what is half of $900, $450 is my judgment, but more importantly, I want you all to go and sit in my office, and I want you to figure this out. Do you understand?
Yes, Your
I
Honor.
don't even want them to comment. Just get them out of here. Get them in my office. We'll stand adjourned. Nothing
Judge.
further.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge.
Judge Hatchett has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $450.
Section
To be honest, I actually agree with the judge's verdict. I think the 450 is reasonable because, to be honest, the lady actually had a very difficult choice to make, and she went the other route, which is understandable because it was not her doing in the first place. From the brother's perspective, we understand the brother's own side of it. After his sibling had promised to come, pay $900 for the first class ticket, and she didn't make it. I could understand his own path, but he needs to understand that if he hadn't done all those actions he took in the first place, he wouldn't have been in the condition that he was. But with that being said, I'm happy for Judge Hatchett's verdict. I'm happy for her verdict, and I'm also happy that she is trying to reconcile them as siblings. So beyond the money and beyond the whole disappointment, let them have a good relationship, which at the end of the day is even the most important things for family to be reunited. He actually has a long way to go, in building the trust back of his sister and also earning the trust of his brother-in-law, which is going to be a very hard thing to do. But I hope they sort it out together, and I hope they become one family again and he doesn't go back to his past behavior. And with that being said, guys, tell me your take on this whole situation. I hope I'll see you guys next time. And my people, peace.